Hello everyone, my name is Jamin. Thanks so much for visiting my channel. In this video, I have an Asus ROG Strix, the G614 model. I'm going to show you how to get inside, access your memory. So first thing, power down your computer, make sure it's off and unplugged from your charger. We're then going to flip your computer over to access the bottom case screws. Now this computer has 11 screws near the red arrows that need to be removed. The bottom screw near the blue arrow is a captive screw that will not actually come out of the bottom case when you unscrew it. It actually lifts the bottom case up a little bit to help you start prying it off. After you have the screws removed, you take a small flat pry tool and you're going to start in that corner near the blue arrow and you're going to pry the seam of the bottom case up from the rest of the computer. Now don't put the pry tool too far in, you could damage some internal components. Keep it on the edge, go nice and slow but firm, and you'll be able to get that bottom case off. After you do, this is what you're looking at for the inside of your computer. Now as a general computer repair side note, whenever I'm working on a computer in my shop, it's sitting on an anti-static mat. Either that or an anti-static bracelet are great ideas to avoid damaging anything in your computer when you're working on it. If you would like any help with tools or supplies for your computer project, as well as any of the replacement and upgrade parts for this specific model computer, I will have a link above, also below in the description, and it will be a list of all the tools and supplies, as well as the replacement and upgrade parts for this computer. Now, before touching anything in a computer, it's always best to unplug your battery first. Computers are safer to work on when as little power as possible is running through them. Now this is your battery right here along the bottom of my screen. To access the battery plug, we have to access that small fan that sits directly above it. The fan is held in by the two screws near the red arrows and plugs into the motherboard near the blue arrow. Now when unplugging that fan, be very careful. Fan wires are very fragile. If you pull them too hard or incorrectly, you could damage the wire. Sometimes you could pull it right out of the plug. So be very careful. Try to use your fingernails or a pry tool to wiggle that plug out of that port instead of just pulling on it. The battery is held down by the screws near the red arrows and plugs into the motherboard near the blue arrow. Now to get that plug up, there's a metal bar right next to the blue arrow. You have to slide that bar to the right and that releases the battery plug. After that, you can pop that battery plug directly up and off of the motherboard to unplug it. This black guard, noted by the blue arrow, sits on top of two SODIMM RAM ports stacked on top of each other. This computer takes DDR5 RAM at 4800 megahertz. I will have all the RAM information below in the description for your reference, but I will also include several replacement and upgrade options for you in that list I told you about with all of the tools, supplies, and replacement parts for this model computer. Now, the manual for this computer says that it takes a max of 64 gigabytes of RAM. However, because of the CPU, it may be able to take up to 96 gigabytes, many of your computers. And some people have told me that they are using 96 gigabytes in their laptop. So in that list, I will include two different options for 16 gigabyte sticks of RAM. They're very popular and they sell out. So hopefully with those two options, at least one will be available when you look at that list. I will also include a 32 gigabyte kit of RAM, which would be two 16 gigabyte kits, one for each port. I will include a 64 gigabyte kit, which would be two 32 gigabyte sticks, one for each port. And then ultimately, I will have that 96 gigabyte kit there too, if you want to try that. The way to operate RAM, you see two spring-loaded metal arms on either side of the RAM stick near the red arrows. The way to get the RAM out is you would gently pry those apart from each other, away from the RAM stick. The RAM will then release. It'll often pop up a little bit, and then you can pull it out of that port. To get the RAM stick back in, if you'll notice near the blue arrows, there's a long section to the plug and a short section. So you can only get the RAM stick in one way. You can't put it in upside down. Once you get it in, get it nice and lined up and flush. Make sure the gold section near the green arrow, make sure that's nice and even along the length of the port. Once it is, you just press down on the RAM stick and the metal arms will latch onto it and hold it in place. Last thing to mention in this video, if you are upgrading your RAM because you're trying to get a faster computer, better performance, keep in mind that your storage is also a large factor in those two things. This computer does have some good storage upgrade options. If you want to learn more about that, check out the video that pops up when this one's done, and I'll explain more about your storage. If you have any questions, guys, check out the FAQs in the description. It could save you some time getting an answer. If you do need to leave me a question or comment, please do. I try to check those a couple times a day at least. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you on my next video.